Thank you, everyone, for coming. So, my talk is about rethinking capitalism in the age of AGI. I'd like to start with a story. When I was young, my dad used to be a tailor in my village in Bangladesh. He used to make handmade clothes. He would measure every person and build custom-made clothes that exactly fit their body type and their preferences. He was craftsy with his scissors. He was artsy with his tailoring job, and his handmade clothes were symbol of prestige across many villages. People from other villages would cross river to come to get their clothes made by him. Around in 2010, his business was not making as much profit as it once used to. My dad, who was a middle school dropout and a self-made entrepreneur, he thought it was a fluke. It's going to come back. He took a bigger loan from the bank and invested even more heavily into his business. Unfortunately, the business did not return. At the same time, another industry was booming in my country. That was the ready-made garments industry. Over time, the cheap clothes made in an assembly line, mass-produced, which comes in only 3 sizes, small, medium, and large, vastly overtook the personalization and craftsmanship. And that was after 31 years of successful operation. My dad's business shut down, and he retired. And this was not an isolated incident. This was happening to all handmade tailor shops, many of whom had to quit their job and go to the cities and work for, guess what, the garments companies. The ready-made garments industry is the best thing that happened to the economy of my country. But that's the side effect of automation. It prioritizes convenience and cost over humanity. Today, we have a new type of automation coming. We have AI systems that talks like experts. We have AI that can paint like artists. We have AI that can sing like musicians. And artificial general intelligence, or AGI, is right knocking in the corner. So what is AGI, you might be asking? There's many definitions, but the definition by the biggest leader in AI, which is OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, they defined AGI as an autonomous entity that outperforms humans in most economically valuable work. Pay attention to the definition. They did not define AGI based on their intelligence. They defined AGI based on its ability to replace workers. That's exactly where the industry is headed. There was a time when the research in AI was driven by curiosity and exploration, but now it's entirely driven by profit. Capitalism is probably one of the biggest forces in our 21st century, and it touches everything that we built, everything that we love. And it's a great force when it can do great things. However, an unrestricted capitalism, an unregulated capitalism could prioritize profit over humanity, could prioritize short-term gain over long-term sustainability. That's why we have regulations such as anti-competitive laws that stop big companies to crush the little guys. That's why we have environmental regulations that help save the ocean from oil spills. But unfortunately, the progress of AI is so fast that by the time our regulators understand what's happening, it might be too late. If our economy stays and goes along exactly as it is right now, soon we might have a higher income inequality than ever before. We might have a higher income inequality than ever before, and the rich will get richer, the poor will get poorer. Many people, the layoffs is going to increase, homeless is going to increase, and it's going to cause a tremendous amount of social unrest. But I'm here to argue that it doesn't have to be that way. We can choose to make a different direction. We can choose to go a different path. By letting the freed up time, the time that was saved by AI, if we give that time back to the people, we could have an entirely different outcome where humans have the time to be human. What does it even mean to be human? So Alexander Pope said, to err is to human, to forgive divine. Rosecrans Baldwin said, to be human is to have a collective memory of where you come from and how you got there. And some other smart person said, to be a human is to strive towards a higher goal where accepting our limitations and embracing our failure. I don't think any philosopher said anything about a performance metric or sales quota, right? But how often do we even, in our modern day, how often do we get the time to be the things that makes us human? How often making mistakes takes time, forgiveness takes time, striving towards higher purpose takes time. How many of us think that 24-hour in a day is not enough to get things done? What if AGI could finally give us back the one thing that we all desperately want? Time. I'm happy to report that the movement have already started. Today, many companies in the US and particularly in Europe are trying to get a 4-day work week instead of 5 without decreasing their employee salaries. And what I'm trying to argue is this should not be just trying, because trying doesn't work. We must demand for it. We must fight for it. This has to be the norm. And eventually, we can get the saved time instead of laying off people. We can get the saved time back to the people and distribute it to everyone and let everyone contribute to the economy and participate in the economy. And a 4-day work week might be just the beginning. Eventually, we might have 3, 2, 1, and boom, universal basic income. This might be the starting step for us to eventually get to a point where working becomes optional. So, what would you do with your free time? I would like to show you one example. Me and my research team at University of Rochester Department of Computer Science, we're building a virtual avatar-based, AI-driven education platform that can teach you on many, many different skills that you would like to learn. Eventually, that day is not too far when we will have AI system that will teach you college-level courses on any topic you desire almost for free. That day is not too far when every child and adult will have access to a hyper-intelligent personal tutor who would teach them on anything that they want to learn, any passion that they want to pursue. Speaking of passion, if you have a passion, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a creator, this might be the best time for you to pursue your passion. Because the same power that your employer has to automate your job, you have the power of automation to do the things that you love to do. Using an AI or AGI could become your business partner, your mentor. It could become your software engineer, your coder, your HR. This could significantly accelerate if you pursue your goals and your passions. So for people pursuing their passions, this might be the best time in history. Today we have a significant negative attitude towards AI. A lot of people are trying to stop AI, ban AI, and people think this as an evil entity, but AI doesn't pick a side. AI is not good or bad. It just amplifies what we ask it to do. It just amplifies the biases that we have in our current society. and the biases and the problems that we had with our societal system and capitalism, all of them are first time being visible with AI. Now, it's for us to choose whether when we saw the symptom, do we ignore the symptom or we do something about it? AI is a accomplishment for all of us. No single individual or company could create AI or is going to create AGI. They're using the data that we produced on the internet by ourselves. Even if you are not one of the creators, the content that on the internet that AI was trained on was created for you. So you could consume that content. So passively, you are the reason that the content was created on which the AI was trained on. The accomplishment of AI is a collective accomplishment for our entire species. And the benefit should go to our entire species, all of us, not to a few. And however, the benefit of automation is not automatic. We have to demand it. We have to ask for it. We have to fight for it. And if we do, if we play our cards right, if we ask, if we demand, and we're successful in getting what we truly deserve, we may redefine the story of our species. So let me tell you a story about a species called Homo sapiens. They were hunter-gatherers. They lived in small tribes. And at some point, they invented something called language, which allowed them to talk to each other, to share their feelings, to share memories, and to share their learning, which made them stronger. They shared stories with each other. They bonded over stories. Their group grew in numbers. They became the dominant species on the whole planet with the power of stories. Eventually, they created something called writing. They could write down their stories and pass it through generations. So they could learn from their ancestors' stories and avoid their mistakes. They grew smarter and smarter. And eventually, they created machines to do their manual work, so their job got a little bit easier. However, they started doing something called a 9-to-5 job. And they started dreaming about an imaginary concept called the work-life balance that nowhere existed. So, and they worked, and eventually they created a strange machine called computer. This strange machine had more memories than any of their brain ever had, and even all of their memories combined. So they could now store all their memories, a lot more memories than they ever could using this machine. And eventually they started to talking to each other over something called the internet. They talked and they talked and they argued about the color of the dress. They talked to each other, they laughed, they loved, they bonded more than ever before. And all their talking was stored on the internet, on the cloud. And then the TikTok influencers and a few other mistakes later, they realized they could turn that talking into a talking machine. A machine that could talk like them, a machine that could do the 9-to-5 job that they dreaded. And eventually, they made a machine that could do the 9-to-5 job for them. So finally, they were able to relax and take the vacation that they always wanted. Finally, the human species might be able to slow down and realize that humanity doesn't have to slow down if humans slow down. When I was younger, me and my siblings, we could barely see our dad. He was working pretty much morning to late night. In some high-intense seasons, he would sleep in the shop. He had to work so hard and make so many clothes that he has to sleep in the shop. After his retirement, he has infinite free time to spend with his friends, family, his grandkids. As a pious Muslim, he always had a dream of visiting the Holy Land of Makkah and to visit the Holy Pilgrimage, and he never got to. I'm happy to share that last month, in the month of Ramadan, he was finally able to visit the Holy Pilgrimage, and that was a milestone for him, and he could only do that because now he has the free time to do so. And a semi-retirement for our species might turn out to be unexpectedly good for all of us. Thank you.